Nether. It's me, Blake, again, and today I will be speaking about Deepwoken. Now, you can call this like a mini overview from a perspective, but in this video, we'll be talking about my overall perspective of Deepwoken and what's wrong. But don't get me wrong, because of the title, I enjoyed in some aspects, and some aspects I didn't enjoy so much. The aspects that I enjoyed were creating and building your own talents. So basically, you could go full damage, or you could just go full mantra. There's almost endless possibilities of what you can do, but that becomes more and more difficult with the risk to reward ratio at the end part of the game, because it is a permadeath. So the risk to reward I'm talking about is whenever you kill an owl, king threshers, um, primadon, and you don't get the EXP compared to the risk you take. If you've killed those, you'd notice that you don't get anywhere near the amount of EXP you'd assume you do from the amount of difficulty it takes to take down those monsters. And it gets increasingly difficult to do that whenever the server performance is as poor as it is. And let's get more in detail with that with this diagram I got set up here, if you can even call it that. Now, this is what I think will take the huge hits on Deepwoken. Many people assume it's just Roblox servers, which is wrong. It's or Roblox in general, because if that was the case, a base plate game would have the same issues that Deepwoken does. But if you stated that Roblox servers can't handle the way Deepwoken is made, then you'd be right. Then you'd be half right on that. Now, let me explain this diagram I made real quick. Now, Deepwoken has a ton of NPCs. Everyone knows that. The amount of NPCs that Deepwoken has is, if I had to assume, would be 30 to 40 at any given time. Now, this, you might be thinking, oh, that's not that amount of NPCs for, you know, an RPG game regularly, But this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because most of these NPCs are using Roblox pathfinding service, which I'm assuming, because of the way they walk whenever you're behind a wall, if you're far enough away, they'll just pathfind you. And now Roblox pathfinding service is incredibly performance intensive, to the point of where if you have even 10 plus, it would cause a server hit. So let's say 30 to 40, all using pathfinding service. Now, there's also more logistics, just telling them when to climb, and also to make the NPCs a little bit smarter overall, which will add a little bit more intensiveness to it as well. Now you might be thinking, but how does this incorporate to lag? So imagine if every second, which I'm assuming it is from the way it's reaction, but it could be even faster than that. It could be 0.2, 0.1. I assume it's not every render stepped, but let's just assume that every second, let's assume this is our path, right? We're gonna have to go along here. It reaches the wall. It says, how do we get around this wall? Okay, go to the right. Okay, how do we get around this wall? Go down. How do we get around this? How do we keep going towards this path? Take a right. And then it has to do this every second. It's computing the path to get to this endpoint right here. So you might be wondering, but still, how does it incorporate your lag? Well, that's because of the usage. Roblox has a set usage per server, just like how the easiest way to explain this is if you looked at your computer and you looked at the CPU usage you had, right? Let's say you were at 100% CPU usage. Any other task you tried to do at 100% CPU usage would be delayed and laggy. So what happens is whenever something is using all the resources the server can offer, everything else slows down to accommodate for the usage. So that's why if you ever were fighting NPCs and they're hit you 5 times before the server comes back for you, it's because it is prioritizing that over your movement, over the skills you're using. Everything else is prioritized over that, because that is something that was being used before you added more usage to that server. Now, another thing that could be incorporated to this lag is the boats. Now, you might be thinking, oh, is it the sailing? Is it the wind? No, it's actually not either of those. What I assume it is whenever you steal someone's boat, as you know, if they log out, you keep that boat. and then if you leave that boat and get on your boat, that boat stays there. So what I'm assuming is that boat keeps staying there and keeps staying there, and if multiple people do this over and over, it'll cause a memory leak, because there's just I assume there's no cleanup, because I was on a server for 5 hours, maybe even 6. I know it's at least above 5. So, and the boat that I stole to get to Bandit Island was still there whenever I came out from Sharko Cave. And I kept traveling in my boat that I had over and over to each island, came back to Bandit, the boat was still there. So I'm assuming there's no cleanup, but I could be wrong. There might be cleanup and it's just broken. No, this is just my opinion on everything Deepwoken. Like I said before, it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game at all on Roblox. It's an enjoyable game. It's just something where, because of the performance issue, it's not something where I can see dedicating time to at the moment, just because I'm gonna lose it, just because the server lags, and they do not do restores for that, by the way, unless they have multiple perspectives. So unless you're playing with a group of people who all lag at the same time and can prove that, then you're not getting a restore. But this is just my perspective on everything and how I think it's all happening, and so I can give everyone else a viewpoint rather than them listening to just opinionated, like heavily opinionated, where people are just trying to cover for something. I'd like to think I got a little bit of knowledge on Roblox from the amount of time that I've spent on it overall. So I'd figured I'd share that a little bit with y'all, so you can calculate your own opinions and use this as an inference. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, shoot me a DM on Discord or leave a comment below. Hey, this has been me, Blake, and I'll catch y'all in my next video. Peace out.